When Magnus Carlsen was slowly rising up the ranks to become the world champion, it was said he had the ability to squeeze water out of stone. This is exactly what Nihal displayed yesterday. He was playing against Kirill Georgiev in the first round of the Grand Slam tournament, and he played such a marvelous game, a beautiful game that completely shocked everyone. He launched a blistering attack against Kirill Georgiev's king, and Georgiev was forced to resign later on in the game. So we'll have a look at this epic game by Nihal Sarin, which helped him to set up his round 2 clash against Fabiano Caruana. So the game began with d4, d5, knight f3, knight f6, bishop f4. Now usually there's a good choice for white choosing between 2 bishop f4 and 2 knight f3. Nihal apparently likes the choice of knight f3. I think both are pretty even Stevens. And after c5, e3, knight c6. Here white has to be careful. You cannot go for a move like c3 because after queen b6, there's this line, for example, queen b3, c4, queen c2, bishop f5, and then you cannot take this bishop because of queen takes b2. You have to go back, and this is a very decent position for black. So that's why you have to start with knight to d2. And if here queen b6, then you have this crazy line with dc5, queen b2, and so on. So, of course, Kirill Georgiev knows Nihal is well prepared for this, and that's why he goes for e6. And after c3, bishop d6, bishop g3, we have reached the old main line of the London system. This was the most popular way for black to play against London, at least till 2018. And here, Kirill Georgiev castles. And after bishop d3, b6, which is the main line here, Nihal goes for e4. Now, here, white has other options. He can play queen e2. He can also play knight e5, but Nihal goes for the most obvious choice. And here if black captures, then this leads to a position where white is slightly better with these pins, and black is going to face a position where he has absolutely no chance to win. So not many players actually go for this in practical chess, and they just go for the main line with bishop e7, and now white plays e5 and knight h5. You don't want to go knight d7 here. I can totally imagine a move like h4 preparing bishop h7 check with a Greek gift sacrifice. So that's why knight goes to h5. And after knight g5, this is the new main line here. Yes, this is all theory. This is all theory. This is the new main line. And after knight g5, black is forced to play bishop takes g5 and queen h5. And here black has a couple of choices. I think the move played in the game is the best one. So it tells us that Kirill Georgiev was not out of book yet. But the other tempting choice is bishop takes d2. Why not spoil white's castling and force his king to come to d2, which is very vulnerable. But the problem here is after a move like g6, white can simply play queen h6. And now he has total dominance over these light squares. And that means even a move like h4, h5 and takes, or even just bishop h4, bishop f6 is 10 times more dangerous when black does not have a dark square bishop. So that's why spoiling white's king side is not really that problematic for white. He will just put his king on d2 and launch an attack, and black will be struggling. So that's why Kirill Georgiev plays g6 and Nihal comes back. So now that the queen hasn't pushed back, why not just come back to e2 and defend your knight? And after bishop e7, which is not the best move here, Nihal plays knight f3, defending the pawn on d4. And after cd4, Nihal here thought for a long while. He was confused. I think he was thinking about two choices. One is knight takes d4, which is the move I was thinking he would play. And the second move that he played, bishop b5. Both are pretty good moves. And after queen c7, he played c takes d4. So why did he not capture c takes d4 directly? It's because of knight d4. And suddenly you cannot move back the bishop. If you do not move it back, then you lose your very strong bishop. If you move it back, bishop a6, and suddenly black is winning. You can't even castle. So that's why he had to go for this long idea. And after c takes d4, knight b4, black tries the same idea, but now there is no bishop to hit on d3, and white can just castle. And after bishop d7, which is a very good trade for black, because he exchanges this passive bishop on c8 for an active bishop, which is a good bishop considering the pawn structure. Nihal has to play rook c1, black takes, queen b7, and now a3. And the knight, of course, cannot go back to c6, and if it goes to a6, it will be really passive. So his opponent first plays a6, and now queen e2, and now knight c6. And here Nihal does not have his most attacking piece on d3, but still he launches an attack. He is not scared at all. Let's go, h4. And after rook c8, bishop to f4. Now why does he play this move? Because as we discussed in an earlier position, these squares are crucial to white's attack. White can never imagine playing queen e3, queen h6 because black has bishop f8, for example. That's why he wants to trade off these bishops that would help white launch an attack. And after knight a5, bishop to g5, Nihal does exactly that. And after b5, bishop f6, Nihal is preparing to play queen e3, queen h6. And also sometimes a move like g3, king g2, rook h1 and h5. All of these moves are possible. And after bishop f8, which is a complete inaccuracy, black does not have time for this. Nihal plays h5 and goes for it. And after rook takes c1, black finally realizes he needs to exchange a few rooks, try to get a position without the rooks so that the attacking chances are significantly lower for white. Nihal takes and rook c8. And here I'm going to ask you to pause and try to find the move for white. This is a very crucial moment. White plays the move rook to e1. Even rook d1 was equally effective. You do not want to trade rooks. After rook takes c8, queen takes c8, you lose a very strong attacking force. You need that rook for the attack. And that's why Nihal plays rook to e1. And after rook c4, which is a completely useless move, I think, surely an inaccuracy. I think Kirill Georgiev was already under a lot of pressure. He could not find the best plan. I think a move like queen c6, trying to get the queen to defend sometimes like this would have probably been better. But after rook to c4, h takes g6, and black cannot afford to capture with the h pawn because after queen e3, queen f4 and queen h4, it's getting made by force. So after all, he plays f takes g6, trying to use the queen for defense. But of course, knight g5, attacking e6. And after queen d6, queen g4, again attacking e6. Here, black had to give up the e6 pawn and play a move like knight c6. That was his last try, trying to attack the d4 pawn. But Kirill Georgiev goes for the defense. You should not go for the defense if you have an option of counter-attacking. And here, rook e3 comes for the deciding idea. And after h5, queen e2, queen c8. Now, Nihal plays a Kasparian-like move, king h2, first of all avoiding this check and then going for the attack. This shows you world championship material right here. And after rook c1, rook h3, I hope you can see the threat here. If black does something useless, rook takes h5, pawn takes h5, queen takes h5, and once the queen is h5, queen h8 and queen h7 both are checkmate. Black cannot avoid them. So Nihal's opponent now plays knight c6. And Nihal, of course, could have captured on h5, but he even goes for the simpler choice with queen to d3, attacking g6. And here there is no defense because if queen... And by the way, Nihal's opponent resigned. He resigned right here. And Nihal won his first round game. But if he had played queen to e8, here Nihal can still play rook takes h5 because after g takes h5, there is queen h7 mate. With that, Nihal has showed how strong he really is. There are people doubting his classical ability. He has proven them wrong and destroyed a grandmaster in such a convincing manner in an opening like the London system. And that means he has set up his second round clash with world number 2 Fabiano Caruana on board number 1 of the Grand Swiss event.